them tell you, say.
Before I call up the professor to do his work, let me say that the Dean of Faculty of Engineering is here with us, Professor Akpan Hogan Ekpo, and the Director of the International Programs, Professor of Economics, Professor A.H.E, a one-time commissioner in this state. Invite Professor Omar, the co-chairman of the center, to take item number 4. Prof.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Akpan State, represented by Professor A.H.E, the Chairman of today's occasion, His Royal Majesty, the Sovereign Raymond Ian, the Vice Chancellor of the Great University of New York, the Honorary Professor Akpan Hogan Ekpo, the President of Nigerian Economic Society, I can't miss that, Professor, he gave the name, I think I got that right. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen. A little over 45 years ago, a young man left the shores of Nigeria to study abroad. And I can't help but imagine that during the first 12 hours flight from Lagos to New York, he must have been wondering what his ultimate goal in life would be, and the whole essence of undertaking a journey like that to a foreign country. But I can also imagine that all he was trying to do is go out in search of one tiny contribution to the development of humanity. The man who we are honored to have in our midst today, the chairman of this occasion, carefully chose his words, one of which was to describe Professor Ekpo as an individual who is not only humble, very intelligent, but also added that he went out trying the best he could to search for anything that would liberate the mind. And as one who has followed him all these years, I can attest to the fact that liberating one's mind has been at the forefront of Professor Ekpo's struggle all through these years. Simply by pursuing academics from childhood to a point where he leads not just institutions, but he also leads countries. I have been fortunate to visit other countries outside of Nigeria, and where I have been told many times world-class economist was here. We are privileged to have him in our midst. Today, ladies and gentlemen, it would have been a lot easier for Professor Ekpo to accomplish the much he has and kept it to himself. It would have been even much more easier, though, to also create a pyramid where the rest of humanity would gravitate towards him at the top. But he is a little different, very different indeed. The man chose to build a cone with himself at the very bottom, and the rest of us germinating along the way, such that wherever you go around this world, particularly in the field of economics and very especially in the area of fiscal federalism, the name Akpan Hogan Ekpo will resonate. Today in Central Bank of Nigeria, Central Bank of Ghana, wherever you go. A few of those that benefited from this intellectual giant decided to set up a center to immortalize it. That center is Christian Akpan Hogan Ekpo Center for Public Policy, and very well established here in our university. So many donors decided to take this center to other universities outside of Rio, but because of his commitment and love for this institution, he decided the center must be at the University of Rio. On completion, you will see a giant edifice. A facility that would drive thinking in Nigeria. There are several centers in Nigeria, but as conceptualized, this center, within a very short period of time, will get to the zenith of a typical think tank for the country. The structure that we have on ground, it may not be anything to write about right now, but I can tell you this. To put up a structure worth 300 million naira will take 10 years. Will even take 20 years. But by the commitment of several individuals, some of whom are already in here, we have started and we are going somewhere. And so we decided that every year, a man who has made so much contribution to humanity must be honored. Today's event happens to be one of such honors that will be bestowed on our friend, brother, colleague, and mentor, Professor Akpan Hogan Ekpo. What he loves the most isn't money, though he doesn't give his own money back to me. But what he loves the most is being able to empower individuals. And that is why today he brought a scholar, a thoroughbred scholar, to feed us in his honor. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are here to defend intellectually and to honor Professor Akpan Hogan Ekpo.
The next item number 5. The renowned lecturer is to be presented by whom the cap fits. So I will step aside while inviting the former EDC of this institution. A round of applause as welcomes to present the lecture.
Of Oregon State, here represented, the chairman of this occasion, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Rio, Professor Ekpo. Please allow me to stand at the protocol list already established by the last speaker. I'm here to introduce our guest lecturer for today, Professor Ebere Onwudiwe. Professor Ebere Onwudiwe is a political scientist and has a PhD in that discipline. She's an economist with a master's degree in that discipline. He's a policy scientist with a graduate certificate and degree, including international relations, in which he had an MA, Master of Arts degree, were earned at the Florida State University, Tallahassee, Florida. He is currently the publisher of the Sustainable Development Goals Monitor Journal. The journal has been being read by several people in this course. He was respectively a full professor of behavioral sciences at the Central State University in Wilberforce, Ohio, where he was the director of the National Resource Center for African Studies and later executive director of the Center for International Studies. He has been a visiting professor at the Ohio State University, Columbus, Ohio, Antioch College, Yellow Springs, Ohio, and the United Nations University of Peace in Costa Rica. He was a governance consultant to the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and until recently, a distinguished fellow at the Center for Democracy and Development, Abuja. Professor Ndiwe was a senior fellow at the Center for Applied Economics, Lagos Business School between 2002 and 2006. He held the same position at the Center for Ethnic and Federal Studies at the University of Ibadan. He was the editor of the defunct the International Journal of African Studies, previously called the Journal of Human Relations. Professor Ndiwe had edited, co-edited, and authored 12 books on Africa, including Afro-Optimism, Perspectives on Africa's Advances, Nigeria's Struggle with Democracy and Governance, Nigerian Federalism in Crisis, Critical Perspectives and Political Options. He was co-writer of the African Governance Reports published by the Oxford University Press. Articles and reviews have appeared in Development Practice Research in African Literature, Transition, Current History, the Journal of Democracy. His public intellectual articles have been carried in Nigeria by Newswatch, where he was a columnist, by Business Day, where he was a columnist, The Guardian, This Day, and in the US and Europe by the Dayton Daily News, the Columbus Dispatch, Cleveland Plain Dealer, Houston Chronicle, the Christian Science Monitor, the New York Times, the International Herald Tribune, the Los Angeles Times, and the Congressional Record of the United States Senate, to name but a few. Participated in seminars in many institutions in Africa, Europe, and the United States, including the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, the University of Ibadan, the University of Nairobi, Kenya, the University of London, Michigan State University, Northwestern University, UCLA, Stanford University, Michigan State University, American University, Washington, D.C., Harvard University, and the State Department, Washington, D.C., among others. Recently gave the 10th anniversary lecture of the Canadian University, Nigeria's first private university in Okada, Edo State, and the 2013 convocation lecture of Madonna University, Elele, in Rivers State. He has also lectured at the prestigious Lagos Business School Breakfast Club, billed as the executive briefing for chief executives of the private sector and top diplomats in Nigeria. He has served as a consultant to the A.H.E, the German Development Corporation, the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, NEPAD, the African Peer Review Mechanism, APRM. Professor Ndiwe was the chief consultant on community relations to Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff between 2009 and 2010. He also served as training consultant to the government of Akpan State on internally generated revenues in 2010 of the Discovery Cycles Technical Working Group on the Code of Conduct Bureau of Federal Republic of Nigeria in 2011. Is still there. Professor Ndiwe was a founding member of the Consortium for Development Partnership of Northwestern University and the Council for the Development of Social Science Research in Africa. While at the Central State University in Wilberforce, Ohio, Professor Mugebe has arranged state scholarships for 93 Francophone African students. In 2001, in recognition of this, he was awarded the national honor of the Officer of the Order of Honor, OON, by the Republic of Togo. He is currently an independent scholar in Abuja, Nigeria, where he is a distinguished fellow at the Center for Democracy and Development and a member of the Board of Advisors to the Chief Economic Advisor to the President of Nigeria. Allow me to stop there, because if I continue, we won't be here today. Welcome, Professor A.H.E. Onwudike.
Thank you, Professor. Please continue to celebrate and share all rise. Let's remain standing as we receive this distinguished professor. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Chairman of the A.H.E, Chairman of the Center, and representative of the government, Professor Akpan Ekpo, fellow professors, and dear students, good afternoon. It is really, truly a privilege for me to be here to honor Professor A.H.E, who is a personal friend and a colleague at the Advisory Council in Abuja. Professor A.H.E.'s student, I was reading the program to find that he is the chairman of the advisory board of his center, Dr. Patrick Okibo, Dr. Patrick Osato, who is a highly placed official, a director at the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development in Geneva. I was at that center in Geneva at UNCTAD to give a talk on sustainable development. And I consulted Patrick about his relationship with Professor A.H.E when he was a student of Professor A.H.E. And he told me that one distinction with Professor A.H.E is that he managed to erase any barriers between a student and his professor. He gave me an instance of when he was a student, junior level or sophomore level, Professor A.H.E would send him to represent him in academic conferences, elevating him to a level that was almost beyond his carrying capacity. But he recognized by so doing, he was giving him a level of confidence that he will always cherish. And today he performed at very high levels in school and became a director at A.H.E, was highly placed at Canadian Central until he is now elevated at UNCTAD. So this is the kind of influence that Professor A.H.E has had on his students. And for us as professors, there is no better recommendation than what you have helped your students achieve. My assignment here is to share my thoughts on what I consider areas of policy that hold help grow our economy in a very sustainable manner. And I'm happy to do it in behalf of someone who has contributed a lot to the literature of fiscal federalism, to the literature of public policy. And Professor Ekpo in this field is a scholar of world-class distinction. I'm an economist, and for the time we assume that I'm never wrong. Economic literature has an array of variables that are set to promote the growth of an economy. And these include abundance of natural resources, capital formation, human resources, social and political factors. In our case, it includes now a condition that I think is not listed here, but is very, very important, and that is situation of peaceful existence. Great security is an important component for development. I like to pay attention to the issue of growth and sustainability. Sustainability is the idea that we can all relate to if only because the quality of life of our future generations depends on how sustainable we are operating the current system. It is the quality of being able to make a good thing last long, to make a good thing endure, to save for the rainy day. Many wise people know that this is a very important idea, although there are some grumpy people who say, well, why should I save for a future generation? What have they done for me ever? So we don't have that kind of mindset. Specifically, growth is the measure of change of gross domestic product or gross national product from one year to the next. Sustained economic growth has positive impact on our national income and level of employment. So our economic prosperity, which is expressed in gross domestic product per capita, meaning the value of all goods and services we produce in a year adjusted for inflation and divided by our total population. So that puts population at the heart of the issue of prosperity. When employment increases, it results in higher living standards for our people. This is vital for enhancing tax revenues for the government, which means that economic growth helps both the government to earn more income for more development of national economy. Therefore, economic growth is a win-win situation for the government and the government. But growth, as social scientists in their own way know, have not always been emphasized in economic history. It always, we sometimes had a whole period of pre-growth situation. This means that wealth and stable economic growth have not always been part of human history. Social history teaches us that the two, prosperity and economic growth, are only part of recent human attainment. Because in this era, population was principal determinant of income. Some writers have concluded that the era of pre-growth was a brutal zero-sum game, in which your neighbor's death meant more money in your pocket. In the pre-growth era, that is the period of the 18th century, humanity was trapped in the Malthusian economy where births and deaths determined incomes, with more births, lower income, and more deaths increasing income distribution today in the pattern of disparity between the haves and the have-nots at both international and domestic level. And for me, this is where, in the case of Nigeria, per capita income has been rising until the Buhari administration, when a steady decline came into existence. Up to 2014, there was a steady increase in per capita income, total GDP divided by population. And in 2016, we had the bad situation, which you don't blame on the president, and that was the situation of recession, which happened for reasons that I will explain in a few seconds. But we have seen steady decline of the situation, such that it has reached a crisis level as we speak, bringing this period of distrust and violence. When there is growth, we should expect an improvement in the capital income and an increase in the economic wealth of our population. But what is the new case in Nigeria? The growth of the economy is in positive relations to poverty. Poverty is at the same time increasing. It's a very, very unique situation. What we should expect is that an increase in growth should be associated with some material benefits that improve the economic welfare of general citizens through higher per capita in the figure here, where GDP growth and GDP per capita income seem to follow the same direction. In recent years, from 2014 to 18, to be precise, we can see the path of Nigeria's economic growth. You can see the path of Nigeria's economic growth. This graphics, which is produced by the Lagos Business School recently, shows that in particular. We see the boom years, which we saw in the first graphics, and we see the recession period, where about 4 quarters of the economy saw negative growth, when it's now making its ascendancy, but very slowly as the quarters here depict. With growth rate at 6.22%. We experienced a boom with a growth rate of 6.22%. This was due to the hike in oil prices that stood at an average of 99.26% and ended at $116 per barrel. So this is not controlled by any government, by international market. And in 2015, we had a sharp decline in our fortunes that international market forces also determined. And the number plummeted to 6.22% to 2.79%, due primarily to severe commodity shock. and the prices of oil declined from 53 per barrel, $53 per barrel, to about $6 per barrel, at a relatively stable production level of about 1.86 million barrels. What this says is that our dependency on oil, our commodity dependency, is one reason we have been having these situations that are beyond our control. But dependency is not, the dependency on commodity, on a singular commodity, is not only our problem. We also have issues of what I would call bad governance, which led to attacks on pipelines. The federal government was not able to work well with people who were angry with the situation in oil producing areas, and at that period the attacks on pipelines, and that led to a sharp drop in oil production to up to 1.6. As I said, at this period, and we are still battling with that situation. There was also the insolvency of about 27%, which is just a problem with governance. There was very high salary arrears across the country, plus the inexplicable delay on putting the cabinet together by President Buhari, something that is still happening as we speak. Remove J.P. Morgan and Barclays emerging market indexes, removing Nigeria from these indexes. This came with its own cost, as you can imagine. One cost was that it denied Nigeria inclusion of federal government bonds in J.P. Morgan government bond index. Those indexes are comprehensive emerging market benchmarks that track local currency bonds issued by emerging markets of PGO1. Evidence of all this is all around us. Scholars have found in 2000 that Africa's credit ratings are lower than is warranted by the fundamental of its economy. As I've argued somewhere, the main ingredient in the power of weak states such as ours is the image that it has in the minds of decision makers abroad. And this negative image of which Nigeria suffers in abundance. The steep drop in oil prices, negative international image, protectionist policies of the federal government still did not exhaust the problems of Nigeria in 2015. And all this cumulatively led to 2016. Found that economic growth accounted for about 75% of poverty reduction. By Revlon and others, found that most people treated as poverty is through growth rather than through government spending on social protection. And we know that the biggest, the highest point of this country's effort under the current administration is the 500 billion naira that was put under protection of the poor. But these findings, whether Nigeria violates it or not, by our own observations, has some policy implications. In our journal, which is coming, we recorded an average growth of, we noted a recording of average growth of 7.3% between 2000 and 2015, before the recession of 2016. And this growth trajectory contributed to the decline of poverty rate between 2000 and 2014. We also find in that study that growth alone contributed 76% of the poverty reduction in Nigeria between 2004 and 2010. But that's not happening in this administration, under this administration. One way to look at this is that Nigeria has continued to score high in poverty rankings despite the 500 billion naira it claims to be spending on social protection programs across the country. Table 1 speaks to this. We will record the levels of unemployment from 2010 to 2018 from 6%. So far, we can tell that simply focusing on the economics of growth may not tell the whole story. Some of our problems are due to bad governance. If you live in it, you can experience it. But I can volunteer one hint. Bad governance does not receive any desirable adjective such as transparent, accountable, and efficient. Unlike bad governance, good governance is an indispensable complement to sustainable economic growth, precisely because it is accountable, it is transparent, and it is efficient. For a government to efficiently promote equitable and sustainable development in Nigeria, it must have those three characteristics and more. Such a government ensures more national unity, which this government is not doing. It guarantees strong institutions and a regime of meritocracy, which this government is not doing. And it reduces nepotism, which has been recognized as the mother of all corruption. The weakening of institutions, the lack of respect for rules and regulations, and corruption. These are things not created by the current administration. But development economists have shown that good governance has a positive influence on economic performance. So good governance is the cure. If we can get our government right, we can get our governance right, all other variables conducive to sustainable development will fall in place. So I will discuss briefly some elements of this thing called good governance. Three of them: transparency, participation, accountability, and the rule of law. Take the issue of transparency. The private sector is the engine of our economy. This is the economy we are practicing now. It is the economy based on free market capital. Everywhere in the world where it operates, the private sector counts on the availability of government policies, availability of information to determine the level of confidence it needs before it makes an investment. This is why transparency in the making and implementation of government policies matter. Because as the definition of public policy goes, public policy is what government decides to do or decides not to do. So if you don't know what the government is doing, accountability. Yeah. In a regime of good governance, participation gives citizens a feeling of inclusion by making them stakeholders in the policy that is in question. This makes implementation of that policy easier because support and commitment to any given policy are made easier by a strategy that follows broad participation. The TSA helps good management of cash flow and also reduces the chance of financial linkages in the system. These examples show the problem with Nigeria is not lack of good ideas to support good government. It is the issue of implementation. Not long ago, drawing from Buhari example, because that's the government we have now, several other governments have also had many reasons, many occasions for violating the rule of law. But not long ago, President Buhari withdrew $496 million from the excess food account without approval of the legislature. And that is a violation of rule of law. The funds were said to be for the purchase of military aircraft from the United States. But the withdrawal was a direct violation of the Public Procurement Act of 2007. And a good example of official disrespect for rule of law, the type that is detrimental to good government. This is not to say that disrespect for rule of law, as I said before, is limited to Buhari administration. There are many examples, as I said, of this happening in other and previous administrations. Another egregious example, for example, was the Obasanjo administration's flouting of disrespecting of Supreme Court judgment that ordered it to remit 10.8 billion naira to the Lagos state government in the past. So there is this situation of sporadic unrolling. Investors are watching. That's something to bear in mind. No matter how they disregard, no matter what they think they are. For instance, President Buhari gave his reason for not following due process, which was reported in the newspapers. And this is his reason, and I read it out. Recently, approval was granted by the United States government, but with a deadline within which part payment must be made, otherwise the contract lapses. In the expectation that the National Assembly will have no objection to the purchase of these highly specialized aircraft, which is critical to national security, I granted anticipatory approval for the release of that huge sum of money. You think they will accept, and therefore you break the law in advance. That is not a good excuse, I'm not saying. So this kind of the dog ate my homework and similar tales by past administration are not acceptable excuses for breaking the law in a civilized society people claim to be. You can see that by the news you read every day, by the crisis of groups against groups, by the banditry, by the kidnapping, by the atmosphere of distrust and violence that is prevailing in Nigeria. This is very important because national unity is a prerequisite for sustainable economic development. As I have said, a major pillar of good governance is participation, meaning in broad terms, inclusiveness. This denotes the quality of including all sections of society in decision making. Indeed, it is for this reason that Nigeria founded the federal character principle, the purpose of which is to create a competition where no ethnic group is favored above another in national affairs. But what we have now is a situation characterized by instability, disunity, and all of that are negatively related to economic growth. Thus, all public institutions, according to our federal character principle, should reflect the ethnic, linguistic, and religious and geographic diversity of the country. You cannot say that of the composition of the leadership of at least one institution, of the security chiefs of this administration. This apparent digression, I believe, is indispensable to the goal of this lecture, which is to unveil policies for sustained economic growth. Economists have come to understand that economic growth is not just a matter of numbers. It's no longer a matter of demand and supply alone. ordinary common sense tells us that political instability leads to uncertainty and unpredictability and consequently to investment and capital flow. We know this, we see examples of it in many developing countries that have declined into levels of crisis, and we have seen it occasionally in our country here. Studies have shown that economic growth is low, a high propensity to government collapse, which is often related to instability and defeat. The bottom line is this: when government officials break laws of the land with impunity, they inadvertently create conditions ripe for instability. This is not good for economic growth. This is why powerful institutions such as the World Bank now measures adherence to rule of law in countries around the world with the rule of law index. It's a World Bank approach that is now applicable to many developing countries. Generally, the rule of law index is a measure of how a country abides by the rule of law. It is a global governance indicator, according to the World Bank. The index is captured this. It involves perceptions of the extent to which agents have confidence in and abide by the rules of society, and in particular, the quality of contract enforcement, property rights, the police, the courts, as well as the likelihood of crime and violence. You know that this is a problem we are suffering in our country as we speak. So from that, I go to another important variable for sustainable economic development. In my sense, that will be human capital development. You remember not long ago when Nigeria should pay more attention to investing in its people rather than investing in other forms of infrastructure such as roads, electricity, and other social infrastructure. He did not say don't invest in physical capital, but he says don't do it at the expense of human capital. This interpretation is close to the reading of debt intervention by Nigeria's Minister of Budget and National Planning, Mr. Odoma, a distinguished son of this state. Whatever the interpretation of his observation, Mr. Debt had a point. Long before death, Nigeria's second development plan, 1970-74, noted that the major impediments to plan implementation was inadequate absorptive capacity due to shortage of skilled manpower. And it is not only the shortage of skilled manpower in skill training and other such capacities, but even in the well-being, limited funding, human resource development, including health and education. Nigeria does not invest adequately in individuals who constitute her workforce. This preceded debt observation. And the government were attacking him, saying, well, he doesn't really understand our situation, he's not on the ground in terms of ministry. These studies show that many relevant indices of human development, especially those of health and education, are embarrassingly low in Nigeria. Undeniably, a healthy population is important for sound human capital. The first question then is, just how healthy are Nigerians? We start with the infant and mortality situation in Nigeria. The situation I observe has gone from embarrassing to dangerous.
According to leadership newspaper, the Senate recently called on the federal government to provide adequate primary health care services in the country because, and this is the important thing, because for every single day now, Nigeria loses about 2,300 under 5-year-olds and 145 women of childbearing age. This just in 2018, just last year. In the literature, there is a clear link between health and economic development. Health is an economic asset. A broad conception of it is not just the absence of sickness, but a person's ability to develop to her full potential during an entire lifespan. Health can be an asset with an intrinsic value, being, for example, being healthy is an important foundation of well-being. The instrumental conception of health may consider how it impacts on economic growth when it lowers rates of absenteeism, when it increases the cost of production due to worker illness. So a healthy workforce is a great investment, not a physical development, at least equally. If only because labor productivity cannot be optimized in an unhealthy Nigeria, no matter how much she modernizes infrastructure. And perhaps a bit which I will not go into, but we can learn quickly on this, on education. Okay, I will leave the question alone. I've said much about it. But I think it's observation that some may be tempted to be dismissing of the past of secondary school education in the development process. This is why I say that this decentralization is unnecessary. This centralization, overly decentralization is not something that is good for our country. State governments can provide their own police force, they can administer driver's licenses, they can manage their own revenue no more than those who are at the state level. They're just concentrating power because they want to dominate. You know, this is one important thing to point out about our federalism. In many other countries, they've given the US example. Federalism in the United States, why the states have power. Because the power that you have is the power they don't have. So it is a way of checking power at the center. That was the motivation of federalism in the United States. In our country, the motivation for federalism was fear. Fear of domination of one ethnic group to the other. That's what created federalism in our country. They wanted not to be dominated by other ethnic forces. And so they never conceived it as a way of limiting the power of the center. And of course the military came in and concentrated even more power at the center at the expense of the regional government. And so the competitiveness which was reigning in the regional pillars were all lost. And the state became vassal centers. We will always go begging for the shared resources in Abuja of my discussion. That the unemployment is growing as is the population. And that is a very dangerous thing. Our population is growing at about over 2%, and unemployment is there. And so the capital income is doing it. But as I pointed out, the irony that even when the per capita income is, even when our economic growth is increasing, our own unemployment was also increasing. That the gap between rich and poor is mind-boggling. By an European Oxford, that if he spends $1 million a day, his money will last for 46 years or 42 years. $1 million a day. But now this is happening in a country where over 100 million people are living in poverty. The billionaires, there are 5 billionaires in Nigeria in the same report, whose total income is almost is higher than that of the half of our population. And you have a situation where a billionaire is making per day a sum of money that is 8,000 times more than the money a poor person needs to eat for 1 year. These are not my statistics. They are statistics of Oxfam. Budget in Nigeria. And our own is exacerbated by the fact that some of this money, not these business people who are making their money legitimately, but some of the money that is lifted from our public purse, from our public treasury, are stolen and deposited in other people's banks in other countries. And this is what is exacerbating our problem. This is one reason our people are suffering very hard. And one reason we must pay attention not only to economic numbers of growth, but to the difference between the rich and the poor in this country. The situation of power at the center is suffocating our development. Whether the federal government likes it or not, this is the truth. And pressure must continue in a legitimate way by the general population government to give more power, to give more authority at the state level and local level. The sharing philosophy is growth averse. It does not promote any kind of growth. All this should point on a explosive feature, the signs of which are rearing their heads in the rising regime of distrust, banditry, and violence. So what to do? Change the sharing philosophy by making the state more competitive. Devolve powers, I think so. All this means restructure the country. Those people calling for political restructuring are good economists. Because what they are saying is going to help the country. Make the country more investor-friendly to attract more foreign and domestic investments, increase investment in education and health of Nigerians, narrow the gap between rich and poor, and end the atmosphere of insecurity by promoting patriotism through fair and just policies. This current government has not shown this as a very strong part of its thinking. There is a relationship between per capita income and democratic longevity. Our current per capita income is about 2,000 naira. So that if your current per capita income is 1,000, your democracy is expected to last 8.5 years. If it is 1 to 2,000, about 60 years. Ours is slightly above 2,000. So, maybe 33 years, if you count the ones who are in years, you know where it's going. And so we wouldn't even bother about this one. But these are numbers from economists, from Freedom House, that was cited by these economists. And I took a picture of it. Okay, so, the conclusion. The state of the Federation should accumulate wealth by competition, not depending on revenue formula and sharing. We must keep drumming this into the head of this administration. They must listen. They didn't create it, but they must take the credit if they can. They have the courage to allow this to happen. The A.H.E Foundation, I was reading the other day, had a publication. I read the publication, I should say, and they said that you cannot save for a rainy day if the constitutional philosophy for revenue management is sharing. There's no way you can say you obtain money and share it and blow it away. All in all, Nigerians have yet to find a way to settle this argument over fiscal tyranny. And I think that's where we are in this country. Until they do, any talk of strong and viable Nigeria is, in my opinion, premature. And so we must summarize all of this under one head. Is the problem of what? Leadership. That's the summary of all our problems. It's not on all economic industries. It's not on all the models of development. It's not all the theories. It is the problem of leadership. And this is why I have the I'm not done. Okay. I want us to listen to this.
Please, let's start with
the chairman of this occasion, Your Royal Majesty, the Vice Chancellor, University of New York, distinguished lecturer and honorary ladies and gentlemen, we need to appreciate the fact that the lecturer has done justice to the topic, sustainable economic development and development in Nigeria, critical policy issues. And at this point in time, in order for us to meet up with the time, we have to move straight to the next item. When the lecturer of that caliber presents a lecturer, it's not even the place of the MC to try to add or subtract or say anything about the scripture, the lecture, except those who have been designated, who are competent to critically look at what was presented and make remarks. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we move to item number 7. A time to call upon the President of the Nigerian Economic Society to make remarks on the lecture. The order is like this, to save time. After the remarks by the President of the NES, 2 other renowned professors in the field of economics will be recognized for their remarks, each taking 5 minutes. And then, by the permission of the chairman, 1 or 2 other persons will say something before we call the day, and then depart from here. So on that note, the chairman, Your Excellency, permit me to invite the President of the Nigerian Economic Society to take the lead in his remarks.
Good afternoon, everybody. Chairman, please permit me to stand and listen to the law. Professor Akpan Hogan Ekpo and I were classmates beginning January 1979 at the University of Akron. And since then, we have been friends and brothers. Our name is that. And he preceded me into the ranks of the Nigerian Economic Society to become the president and fellow of the society, and currently the president. Now, for the guest lecturer, I deeply appreciate your presentation. It's erudite and articulate. However, in the development discourse, Per capita income is just but one parameter. It is not enough to be growing per capita income. You must consider the distribution, the inclusiveness of the growth. And I think that's the bit that we need to do. As an economist looking at the Nigerian economy, I've always gone back to the First Republic. The First Republic, the Southwest had cocoa, the North had granite, the East had farm produce, and they competed well. Why? Because the incentives was right. The difference between the First Republic and the rest of the republics is incentive structure. When you have an oil-driven redistribution mentality, then of course, the equilibrium condition is marginal cost equals to marginal benefit equals to zero. In other words, to base your resources. So Nigeria is not guilty of any crime for wasting over $300 billion in 60 years of oil exploitation. But that is the condition we created to use the oil well. If we allow the states, and in fact, every state, including A.H.E, have something to contribute to Nigeria's development, but it's doing nothing because of the incentive system. So if we allow every state to have control over its own resources, and then pay taxes to the federal government, I think this country will not be what it is today. And I think that is where the magic lies. Thank you.
Is a better round of applause for President of Nigerian Economic Society, Professor A.H.E. Thank you, sir. Next to make remarks is Professor Joe Moore, the Department of Economics. Please a round of applause for him.
Your Royal Majesty, members of the High-Table, permit me to please stand on the existing and well-defined protocol. Let me first congratulate our colleague, Professor Akpan Ekpo, for creating this platform, a think tank platform for us to think through national issues. It is probably the face of this part of Nigeria. A think tank should be a national culture. Germany has 39 think tanks in their country. But Nigeria is still to appreciate that. So I very much thank the panel for creating and sustaining this platform. I also want to congratulate the lecturer, Professor Ekpo, for giving us a brilliant lecture. I want to appreciate this courage for facing facts. In Nigeria of today, people who tell the truth, especially telling the truth with data, are probably in danger. And so he has said things as they are. I come away with the conclusion from its presentation that government is the problem. Government is the problem. Government is the problem in the sense that government has refused to obey the laws of the land, thereby creating a situation close to what would exist in a society without law. Government is a problem by not prioritizing development imperatives as this lecture title right. It has refused to do first things first. Government has not realized that knowledge is the driver. It has also refused to, in fact, allow its policies to be knowledge-driven. I mean, this is not false accusation. In a country where you have government creating over 160 universities, producing over 500,000 graduates every year, and these graduates roam the street looking for jobs. A few of them that have jobs probably don't have enough to take them home. But many of the graduates actually cannot fit into the labor market. And we have the unfortunate phenomenon of unemployable graduates. And government ignores, government doesn't seem to realize that something like that exists, and the youth are suffering. The government is not prioritizing the key issues like employment creation. The lecturer has given statistics of unemployment and has talked about growth. Growth that has no quality cannot take us anywhere. Because joblessness, unemployment, and poverty is grounding our country. The lecturer has made reference to the fact that I support restructuring, but I'm afraid most states will again face this problem. So, as we advocate restructuring, we have to advocate mental restructuring and ensuring that education is key, good education. Mr. Chairman, my time is up, if I haven't exceeded. But leadership is also key. And by the type of leadership we want, we are advocating transformational leadership. Not just anybody claiming is a leader without ability to transform the system. Thank you very much.
Professor A.H.E. Akpan. A round of applause.
Vice President. First of all, congratulations for all of that you've done and for bringing us here, creating this center. Thank you. The Speaker, Professor Odiwe, thank you for a great presentation. As far as growth is concerned, you've dealt with the issues that to be dealt with. There is something I think we have paid too much attention to the matter of growth. I have made this point repeatedly. I think we should begin to focus on development rather than growth. Growth is only one of the many indicators of development. It is easy for a government to manipulate, to deceive the people with growth indices. That is not for today. So, you dealt with the issues, you raised the issues that have been raised about growth. Fine, thank you. But you also mentioned studies that have indicated that countries that have achieved fantastic growth have succeeded in reducing poverty to a greater extent. I think those studies should have looked at the role of redistribution, because a redistribution of income can have greater impact on development than growth. That's why we talk about non-inclusive growth, which is what we have in Nigeria. I thank you, governance issues brought you did very well. I congratulate you, the courage you had to raise this issue. That is who we are. But I think there's something we have to focus on in Nigeria now. Question is, how do we change this situation? The government has not listened I'm not bothered about that. No respect for the law. How do we change that situation? I want to say this thing. Unless we develop the capabilities for doing things for ourselves, unemployment, poverty, rising crime, they will persist. We are, as soon as the Vice Chancellor gives us approval, we're going to have a conference here by the grace of God. And we are going to look at the matter of how I think we've talked a lot in this country about what could be done, what should be done, and so on. What we've not discussed is how those things should be done. And these people who have been hearing this over the years, but have not done anything. Why? Best facts should become part of our intellectual raw material. We should look at that. Why is it so? So that we can break this situation. We can break into it and change and use the powerful instruments of government to transform our economy. Somebody is talking to me about transformational leadership, what they did in Southeast Asia. Yes. Then for how long shall we be referring to those people? How can we make those things happen here? As social sciences, we have now to focus on how we bring about the change in life. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
This one, fiscal policy management. Basis in honor of Professor Akpan Hogan Ekpo is only 1,000 naira. Inauguration of new members of A.H.E, that is the International Association of Research Scholars and Administrators. Please.
Going to be taken by Professor Ogun Shafi. The place which was the government to stay forward. Please, the round of applause for him.
Represented here. Nigeria should be encouraged to work hard, to be industrious. And to do that, there's need for promotion of competition. If the regions are encouraged to compete, develop themselves, whatever they are good at, let them do. The country is very well endowed. Natural resources. Let the segments of the country be encouraged to be productive in whatever they are endowed with. That way we will create jobs. That way we will not be dependent on oil. We will not be looking forward to sharing oil revenues. And that's the way forward. The spirit of giving, that is the spirit of giving back to society in its own way, giving back intellectually. If you can promote the people's intellect, you promote them. And that's what it's done.
Let me say that I'm very, my family and I are very happy for what we are seeing. Because in most cases, what we've been doing in the last few years is always the memorial lecture when someone is dead. But I'm grateful that very emotional that I'm saying this while I'm still alive. I thank you all very much. And what we are bringing to family and I would rather if you don't also to all of you. We don't have much time. But let me, you must say that the chairman of the occasion called me Boy Montana. I think you should ask me how he will explain that. I want to bring the video. But on an occasion like this, we have to have some reflection. Someone described me in Abuja as an unrepentant critique of government. And I said, well, as long as there's greater inequality, greater poor, as long as you have high employment, as long as you have 80% Nigerians in poverty, as long as you destroy the public school system at all levels, you destroy the health system, and so on and so forth, I remain an unbetter critique of any government. But I have no apologies. More importantly, when you look at when one looks at one's background, how one thinks the people what one is today, it is very unright not to take a position of always fighting for the oppressed, to avoid inequality, to avoid injustice, and to avoid the looting of the treasury. Let me say that the stupid lecturer, as an operator said, have done very good work, very good analysis on the issue of growth. But growth is only a necessary condition for development. You can grow, and yet you're not developed. You need growth. But look at our economy, even we are growing almost double digits. We still didn't have development. There are several reasons for that. People have mentioned some. But my vision is that if you look at countries that have grown and developed, that have moved millions out of poverty, it is people like us here, a committed segment of people like us here, that have made that possible. So as intellectuals, we have to make a decision. Whether you want to be an armchair intellectual, or whether you want to be part of change of society. It's very critical. Because if you have time to pick a copy of a book titled From Third World to First World, written by you, someone said that at some point they got fed up with what was happening in Singapore. And elites of his time, educated everywhere in the world, decided, and we have to change Singapore, even if we have to die. With due respect, the poor person in quote may be upset with the system, and he or she has the right to do so. They do be a food soldier, but they don't have all it takes to change society. Historically, it has been people like us here that have decided that enough is enough and will commit to society and make others better off than what we are. Are we ready for that? Now the point of that is that I came from a very, very humble background, and having been educated in good having been educated to enlighten my mind, to debate my mind, I took a decision that every human being must have that same opportunity. So what we have done today is to engage ourselves in discussion to see how we can move the country forward. And you don't need a crowd for a change. You don't need a crowd. You need a committed perhaps group. Others will join the bandwagon eventually. However, and I'm sorry to say, since it's been discussed, the democracy we are implementing and trying to implement will not fast-track development for several reasons. There must be a shift, and I'm trying to change, which means a break from continuity of raising that. A change that will lead us to a system where all Nigerians will have opportunity to make it in life. Some may fall apart, but I think 80% will improve their living standards. there will be a problem. And people have said that government has no business in government. I disagree. Government has a lot of business in business. Namely, any Nigerian millionaire or billionaire, they have made it without government, but they exploited government. It's the quality of government intervention that is important. The quality. Every company you see that has made it, government has played a very important role in the state. Even the other states that we all admire and worship, if you remove the other states, government's pressure on the economy will collapse. The funding on research, the funding on infrastructure, the funding of companies to produce armored cars and transport is part of what stimulates growth and development. So we cannot just shy away from the government. If you do that, those who are presently enjoying improved government, who have captured the state, will continue to use that to exploit us. We have to change the quality of government, the quality of government, and use that for the benefit of all of us. I think that is one of the major mandates of this center. Okay? To engage in public discourse that will build the human mind, that will lead to the emancipation of the Nigerian people. So I thank all of you for coming. I know there will be an official proof of that. But I cannot stand here and not mention the people who have contributed to my study here today. First, I want to thank all my summer students, colleagues, who put their resources, not just for this lecture, but to build the center that will name after me. I'm very grateful. I want to thank the chairman of the education has been very, very crucial in my life. Maybe you are not, maybe you don't remember, but it's my advice. I've made you what I am today. I'm here to share this occasion as I'm really older. Forget about the rest of Lagos. Nothing wrong with the Lagos. Come over. You may watch this, but you pay better than the video. I thank you, sir, for all the attendance every video. I hope I don't disappoint you. There's so many others. There's so many here. But I think I thought I should at least speak on it. My family members are here. My wife is not here, so there's an emergency department in the event that take it out. But I want to thank the governor of the state. When we met, he told me that they know they are around the center and they are going to present me and extend my appreciation to the government. Thank all the students that have passed with me. Literally, I'm very excited. Most of those students, they are calling them professors of our students. And that's the joy. That's the joy. I want to thank them for going through my sometimes very difficult conversation during lectures. But I'm glad that today we all become partners. So I thank you for coming. You will serve as role models for others who are coming after you. For me, a lecturer is not different from a student.
The chairman of the association is Raymond Nia, the paramount ruler of Ona, the honorary Professor Akpan Hogan Ekpo, a distinguished professor of economics, the guest lecturer, Professor Ebera Omodiwe, distinguished professors,
academicians, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to represent His Excellency, who is unavoidably absent. In their sense, special greetings to all of you. I'm very delighted to be here under the auspicious occasion of Professor Akpan Hogan Ekpo's second annual lecture organized by the University of Uyo Akpan Hogan Center for Public Policy. It is very heartwarming to know that a center and a lecture series have been put in place in honor of a man who has contributed enormously to the development of Akpan states, Nigeria, and the world. Professor Hogan Ekpo is a renowned professor of economics, a former Vice Chancellor, University of Uyo, a former Vice Chancellor, Akpan State University of Science and Technology. He was a board member of Central Bank of Nigeria and Director General West African Institute of Financial and Economic Management in Lagos. With such intimidating credentials, Professor Hogan Akpan Ekpo is worth celebrating. I'd like all of us to give him a round of applause. Today's annual lecture, Sustainable Economic Growth and Development in Nigeria, a critical policy analysis. The topic is very relevant now than ever before, as Nigeria is trying to move out of its present economic predicament. As discussed by the guest lecturer, Nigeria is scored very low in virtually all indices of human development. In 2019, the World Health Organization ranked Nigeria 187 out of 190 in the World Health System, only ahead of Congo, Central African Republic, and Myanmar. This low ranking obviously covers areas like life expectancy, gender development index, maternal and child health, environmental and economic, socio-economic sustainability. All these definitely are spin-off from poor economic formulation and implementation. There is a need for us to actually rejig and critically reevaluate our economic policies and emphasis. In order to be able to provide for a fast-growing population, our strategy should be to make our communities more resilient to economic, environmental, and social shocks. Our economic policy should help us to increase our resilience by focusing on local self-reliance, increase in productivity, social justice, collaboration, and cooperation. We have to think outside the box, as most of our economic theories are outdated and they are no longer applicable in the modern society. Economic prosperity awaits nations that infuses innovation, creativity, strategic and independent thinking, and of course science and technology in the formulation of its economic policy. Professor A.H.E has done justice this lecture. Let me use this opportunity to congratulate the management and staff of the University of Uyo, especially the Akpan Hogan Center for Public Policy, for organizing this occasion. I strongly believe that the Professor Akpan Ekpo annual lecture will be a continuous process. Thank you very much.
Vote of thanks, Dr. A.H.E, Chairman Akpan Hogan Ekpo Center for Public Policy. A round of applause for him.
Thank you, stand on this existing protocol. the program with us. And inside you can see our motto. Our motto is contributing to knowledge to liberate the mind. And I want to ask, from what has happened this afternoon, are we doing just that? If you like what you have seen this afternoon, inside the program, you have a small a request form for donation. So we want to thank you for sparing your time to come, for being an admirer of achievement and success. We pray for recognizing and honoring Professor Akpan Hogan Ekpo. May God also honor and reward you in Jesus' name. I want to thank specifically the governor of the state here represented by Professor A.H.E for the honor he has done and already our brother and friend. I want to thank His Royal Majesty, the chairman of this occasion, who has followed and already from his adolescent life up to today. Your Royal Majesty, we are very grateful. We thank you for always being there to support us. Thank you very much. And Her Royal Majesty, please, thank you also for accompanying your dear husband to show this tender support. God bless you, man. I wish you a long life. The Vice Chancellor and the entire university, the center is very grateful that the university has deemed it necessary have facilitated the allocation of a plot of land for this center to be established. I think it is the first center in this part of Nigeria, and we are happy to be part of it. And we pray that this center will bring better things, recognition, and projection of the image of this university to God's own glory. The President of the Nigerian Economic Society, sir, thank you very much for honoring us. And YFM that have followed Professor Akpan Ekpo, your immediate past DG. We thank you for your presence, for all the donors who contributed to make the success of today. We say thank you very much. We cannot name you, all of you individually, but you know yourselves. God will bless you and replenish from where you got to support this venture. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. We're not going to ask how we will do it. God will continue to give him good health, give him the energy, and continue to support him and his family and those who have come in contact with him. May we learn from his anointing. And to God will be glory. Once more, congratulations. Thank you very much. God bless all of us in Jesus' name.
Existing protocol is expected, but let me say that I do not expect anything less than the excellence of this event. I am very satisfied that the Akpan Hogan Ekpo Center will always represent excellence, making change within Nigeria. It needs this segment, just a few of us, a few good people. That is what Akpan Ekpo Center is offering. That a few people, a small segment of this population, should be committed enough to make the changes we need for Nigeria. I think I am happy today. I want to congratulate the President Board, the Professor of Professors, the Vice Chancellor of Vice Chancellor, the only boy Montana we have today. I want to say thank you everybody, thank you very much. The organizers, please make sure you invite me, and let me just say one thing. We have a few friends. It's been introduced. The man there is a former Dr. A.H.E. He's been introduced. But let me emphasize that he had a lot to do with this young man going to the best university in the world, Howard University in Washington, D.C. I can say much more, but I just want to thank you that this has been a successful outing. Thank you, and God bless everyone.
The event is gone, please.
Make I tell you, say now you in 1 month,
That's a wonderful one.
you will sing a new song in 2 days, unless I die.